السلام عليكم. I'm Ahmed.
And I'm Safa.
And
And I'm Mohab.
Allahu Akbar. And we're here to continue reading the Quran. And we're continuing from Surah Al-Baqarah. From, what is it?
188.
189. 188 we read last time.
No, we didn't do 188.
We stopped 188.
Yeah.
No, we did it, we read it, but we didn't talk about it because it's tafsir index. So we're going to take the last verse and continue.
Yeah.
And we're going to go all the way until number
218.
218. So thank you for joining us. As usual, before we start reading the Quran, we say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. And here we go. Cool.
ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون.
Actually, it makes sense to me now. It's exactly talking about interest.
Not only.
Okay.
Not only.
But let's first explain it. Wala, and don't ta'kulu, eat from amwalakum, which means your properties, but it means your assets or your money. Don't eat your money amongst yourselves wrongfully, which means don't consume assets wrongfully. وتدلوا, and present biha ila al-hukam, وتدلوا biha, and show it to the judges or the authorities.
Yeah.
So that you may eat a portion of the money or the wealth of others sinfully, and while you know that it's a sin.
Yeah, so the first part, do not consume other people's monies or money or properties. It means by stealing from it or bribing or النصب. يعني ايه نصب؟
انت اللي استخدمت كلمة.
نصب.
ايش النصب معناها يا مهاب؟
ايه النصب؟
It's sorry. Scam.
Yes,
yeah.
scam.
Don't
Nice.
scam
So
people.
Don't scam people.
these are all ways to that is presented in eating each other's money
Yeah.
unjustly.
Don't consume someone's wealth unjustly,
Yeah.
nor deliberately bribe the authorities. أو تدلوا بها الحكام. Don't present the money to the judges so that you may eat a portion of the money of others. Don't bribe authorities to devour the portion of another's property, knowing that this is a sin. So
I don't think it's only property, but like for example, like
Assets. Assets.
in many countries where, you know, in the Middle East, for example, or other countries, you know, like people are waiting in line for 7 hours and you go and you bribe someone and you cut in front of everyone else, you know, you're not harming anyone, but, you know, they also have lives and they also have things to do. So that's also a way of, I think, you know, like devouring a portion of others' properties, not physical properties, but like time could be a property, you know, or
Okay.
things like that. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah, it's a bit more. I mean, like for me, it translates to money, but like not necessarily money, but assets, things that you own,
Yeah.
things that your rights, things that you're given to you. So I think that's fair. Any other context for it, or should we move on?
No, I think we can move on.
Cool. So this is where we're supposed to start, but we'll
Yeah.
continue.
يسألونك عن الأهلة قل هي مواقيت للناس والحج وليس البر بأن تأتوا البيوت من ظهورها ولكن البر من اتقى وأتوا البيوت من أبوابها واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون.
Okay, this is a bit interesting. Okay, يسألونك, which means they ask you, again, the God's talking to the Prophet here, عن الأهلة, the new moons.
الأهلة is plural of hilal.
Hilal, yeah, which means a crescent.
Yes, about the crescents or the
Yeah,
moon.
or the moon, yeah. So here it says, yeah, the phases of the moon is translated, it says the new moons here, means the crescents. We're talking about the moon. قل هي, say that it is indicators of periods. So these are the times of people for the people and for Hajj, and not righteousness for them that you come into houses from their backs, from behind. But righteousness is whoever fears or is mindful here it's mindful. They mean Allah, and who comes to the houses from their doors, and be mindful of God so that you may be successful.
Yeah, so here it says they ask you about the moon or the crescent. So to the Prophet, tell them that these are to show you the time of Hajj. The time it shows
Here.
the time for people and specifically the time for Hajj. And then he starts speaking about something related to Hajj, which is that people when they go to Hajj, they do something called Ihram.
Yeah.
And then there were people who were like very strict religiously back in the time of the Prophet. They were called al-Homs.
Okay.
And when they were in Ihram, they used to enter their houses from the back, as if it's like not to be doing something very, I don't know, al-Ihram. So they're trying to be like more
Sinful?
No, to be
discreet that they're doing Hajj?
discreet, or I don't know what
okay,
was
so
exactly.
they were doing it in a way that they're not showing that they're following the faith.
No, but it was in a way they thought that this was a way to become closer to God. So they thought that this was a good thing. That they go from the houses from the back when they are muhrimin.
Okay.
In a way not to show off, or I don't know what it was exactly. But here in this verse, what it says that goodness is not that you come to the house from the back. This has nothing to do with being good. God didn't tell you to do this. But good is to be good. Good is to be to follow God and to be righteous and So just go to your houses from the doors.
Yeah. So there's no back door, front door. There's a door. Just go in the house and be mindful or fearful of God, because so that you may be successful.
Yeah.
Clear.
Exactly.
قاتلوا في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا إن الله لا يحب المعتدين.
Now this is a spicy ayah, because this is something that is usually the people quote the first half of this ayah and ignore the second part, or ignore what's coming next. But anyway, وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ, which means fight or kill, but mostly fight, but it implies that death might happen in the name or the way of God, or in the name of God. Those who fight you, and do not transgress, because indeed God does not love those who transgress. But here, this is where they're talking about fighting in the cause of Allah, and it says only, but it will be explained in the next ayah. But essentially it means if someone's fighting you, fight them.
Yeah, the next few verses are about fighting, so...
Yeah.
This would be the perfect ayah for the Westerners, or the non-Muslims who say that, Islam, they want to kill us, and they want
to kill all the transgressors. But here it's saying...
they want to kill all the Jews, they want to kill all the Christians. No, we don't.
It's not true. That's not true.
In the Quran, it says, God said, don't kill these people unless
they're killing
attack
you. Yeah. If they're attacking you, then you can attack them back.
Yeah, and in the background of these verses, it mentions that the Prophet, when he first started to spread the message, he lived in Mecca for 13 years. And during these 13 years, there was no violence whatsoever. There were no fights. There were no weapons used. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then Quraysh, who were the people in Mecca, started to
hate it, because
to be violent against the Muslims, and started to threaten them and torture them and يحاصروهم يعني إيه?
To captivate them.
Captivate them. So they became violent against the Muslims, and then at that point the Muslims had to leave Mecca and went to Habasha and then went to Medina. And then I think at that point was the first verse that came, and it came to allow the Muslims to fight back.
Yes.
It was not to fight people who have nothing to do with anything. It was just allowing the Muslims to fight back those who are fighting them.
Yeah. If you'll notice, none of the rest of the Quran, or most of the Quran, doesn't talk about fighting. So at the time when they asked the Prophet, can we fight them? he said no. And essentially they didn't fight until this verse came down.
Yeah.
They only fought with the permission of God, with telling them how they should fight and why they should fight. And we'll understand a little bit more about that now.
وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ وَأَخْرِجُوهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُمْ وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ وَلَا تُقَاتِلُوهُمْ عِندَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ حَتَّى يُقَاتِلُوكُمْ فِيهِ فَإِنْ قَاتَلُوكُمْ فَاقْتُلُوهُمْ كَذَلِكَ جَزَاءُ الْكَافِرِينَ.
Okay, before we get into the ayah, you want to say something?
I want to say something more about the previous one. So it says, fight in the cause of Allah against those who are fighting you, and don't
transgress.
Don't transgress, which means don't break the line or don't go beyond the line. And in the interpretation that I read, it means that Muslims were not allowed to kill women or children or elderly people or people who are sick. So only kill those who are fighting you.
Yeah.
And don't transgress. In it was the meaning that you are not allowed to fight more, like women and kids and elderly people. If they're not fighting you, then you are not allowed to fight them.
Yeah. Which unfortunately means October 7th was a transgression.
Yeah, but they didn't kill the
They took hostages.
They took hostages. That's another thing.
And they're saying that they did kill people, but it's a bit unclear what happened.
Yeah, it's not very clear what happened. But if they killed
let's not get too political.
people, exactly.
But yeah, just saying that, we're not supposed to kill women and children.
No.
No. Okay, and it says, the next one, وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ, and kill them. Again, same word for kill, same word for fight. It's the same word used from before. Wherever you find them, and drive them out from wherever they drove you out. And oppression is worse than killing. Now, this is something that we can clearly see that somebody doing, but we're not going to get political. Oppression is worse than killing. And do not do not fight them at the Masjid al-Haram, which means in Mecca, until they fight you in it. Then if they fight you, then kill them, fight them back. It's the same word. قاتلوهم فاقتلوهم. It's the same word. I don't know why they say they fight you. They kill you. Oh. If they fight you, kill them. That is the reward of the disbelievers.
Yeah, so, and this was specifically because the Prophet, in 1 year after they left Mecca, he wanted to go back to Mecca to do Umrah.
Yeah.
So he wanted to go to Mecca with the Sahaba.
Yeah.
And then Quraysh did not let them in.
Yeah.
They told them, no, you're not coming in. And then the Prophet said, okay, but we want to come back next year. So they left on the Prophet on the promise of that they can come back the next year.
Yeah.
And they had fear of fighting Quraysh because this was within Al-Ashhur al-Haram. Al-Ashhur al-Haram are 4 months in the year in which fighting is not allowed. And they are in the Muslim months.
Which months?
Zulqa'dah, Zulhajjah, Mahram, Rajab.
4 months.
4 months.
Are they 4 consecutive months?
In the Islamic calendar.
Are they in a row? No,
okay. They're not. I think 3 are in a row and 1 is alone. I'm not sure. But in these months, fighting is not allowed. But in this verse, God told them, so this is why here God is saying, kill them where they are and take them out of where they took you out. This is talking about Mecca.
Yeah.
And don't kill them at the Al-Masjid al-Haram, at the sacred mosque, which is in Mecca, until they fight you. So normally you shouldn't fight in that area, but if they do fight you, then you are allowed to kill them in this place.
Yeah. And because that's the reward for them. But this wasn't قاتلوهم حيث أخرجوكم is not for Mecca. This is everywhere. أخرجوهم, drive them out from wherever they drove you out. And this
Yeah.
applies to, for instance, today.
Yeah.
If they try to drive you out of your home,
Yeah.
you're allowed to get them back. Okay.
إن انتهوا فإن الله غفور رحيم.
And again, when does the fighting end? If they cease, then indeed God is oft forgiving and most merciful.
Yeah. So if they stop, then
Well, they're going to explain it in the next one, but essentially,
وقاتلوهم حتى لا تكون
where are you going very fast today?
I don't know. Is there more that you wanted to say about this? Sorry.
فإن انتهوا فإن الله غفور رحيم means if they stop fighting you, then that's it. Then surely Allah is all forgiving and merciful, and it means in a sense that also you shouldn't hold a grudge and you shouldn't continue. If they stop, then that's it.
But
That's what it.
I think that explained literally later.
Okay.
So like here it's just saying that God is most forgiving and most merciful, and then he explains in more detail a little bit later. I believe, if I'm not wrong. That's why I went fast.
Okay.
Because he does explain it literally a bit later.
وقاتلوهم حتى لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين لله فإن انتهوا فلا عدوان إلا على الظالمين.
So it explains what you're saying in a bit more detail, and fight them until there is not oppression, and the religion becomes for God. So if they cease, then let there be no hostility except for those who are aggressors. So here it's telling them, when do you stop? Fight them until there is no more persecution, and your devotion, and then not your devotion would be to Allah alone. It says fitna وَيَكُونُ الدِّينَ لِلَّهِ. And again here I think this is talking about the future.
No, this is I think because they were trying to make them revert to not become Muslim anymore. So here it tells them fight them so that it doesn't become like an argument, and fitna is like it's not oppression. I don't know why it's translated as oppression, but
No, Arabic to English. Cuteness.
no, that's
It's
also
Definitely
not
not cuteness.
also not
Fitna
cuteness.
is like
temptation, trial, glamour appear.
Disorder, kind of disorder. Fitna is like so that it's like disturbance.
Okay.
So that it's not a disturbance and that you can stay on your religion. This is the way I understand it. So you fight them so that there is not disturbance between you, and you can stay Muslim. That they don't force you to.
I don't think it means that. I think it says, and it becomes the religion for God. وَيَكُونُ الدِّينِ لِلَّهِ. And I think this is talking about the future, not the past. But
What
that's
do you
just.
mean the future?
I mean, there's a holy war happening / coming,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is what it means. This is the end of it. When religion
you mean
becomes
that
for
at
God,
the end of it, religion will be
be
for
God.
Allah?
Yes, because that's what it says, and religion becomes for God. I know what we understood, but I don't think that what we understood is correct. I think this is about the future.
Okay, you can definitely understand it in this way, but if we're talking about
Right.
this specific situation, then I think the other explanation makes more sense.
For me, I'm just reading what I see in front of me, and it says, fight them until there is no oppression, problem, disorder, and becomes the religion for God. Not your religion, not you're free to be the religious. I'm just saying the words literally say, and religion becomes for God.
Religion becomes for God, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it means all three religions that are fighting. But that's just my idea. And then if they cease, then let there be no hostility except for those who are oppressors.
Yeah, so if they stop, then
Stop.
you stop
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
only the only hostility is against
It's
the people who are the aggressors.
Yeah, al-zalimin means like the people that put others in a negative place. they're like, yeah, it's not just oppression, it's just anyone that's like kind of wrongdoing, it's a bit more, but yeah, oppression is kind of word. Fine.
الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام والحرمات قصاص فمن اعتدى عليكم فاعتدوا عليه بمثل ما اعتدى عليكم واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين.
Okay, so here it's saying not an eye for an eye, but it's saying the sacred month for a sacred month, and the violations al-huramat for legal retribution. I think we'll explain this in a second. Yeah.
Al-Hurumat means the sacred.
The sacredness, because it's
Yeah.
haram, hurumat is the same, and I think the violations of religion.
The sacred stuff and the holy.
The holy things, the holy sanctity, holy objects. Yeah. Anyway. Qisas, legal retribution. So whoever transgressed on you, then transgress on them in the same way, in the same manner, and as they transgressed on you. And be mindful or fearful of God, and know that God is with those who fear Him and those who are mindful of Him. Kind of saying if they attack you during a sacred month, then you can attack them during a sacred month. And here it's talking about the differences between obviously the religions and the Abrahamic religions, and that all violations will bring about retaliation. But violations is not enough of a word, wal-hurramat, because it's not just violations; it's the sacred violations. Yeah.
The sacred violation, because in that time they fought them during Ashhur al-Haram, in which they were forbidden to fight. So in that case, it was Hurumat.
Yeah. So, but no, that means Shahr al-Haram is what you're talking about, not al-Hurumat. The Shahr al-Haram. So when they attacked you during the month, attack them during the month.
Yeah.
But al-Hurumat.
Al-Hurumat refers to all the Hurumat. Al-Shahr al-Haram is referred to al-Shahr al-Haram because it is kind of sacred. You cannot fight.
Why doesn't it say al-Ashhur al-Hurumat? I think here it means the violations of like ruining what
look at the translation. It's sacred month for sacred
I agree
month.
with Safa on this
Shahr
one.
al-Haram, Shahr al-Haram, wal-Hurumat. Why would it say?
It's kind of a plural, like al-Hurumat in general.
I think it means the sacred things, but not the months.
It can be the month
It
or
can
be
anything
both.
else.
Anything as well, yeah. Anything that is sacred in your religion.
Yes.
Because there are differences in the religions.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's just the months. I think it's anything sacred, which is fair.
Including the months.
Including the months,
Including
sure.
the month.
Sure.
That's the meaning.
Sure.
وأنفقوا في سبيل الله ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين.
Okay. And spend in the way of the Lord, and do not throw yourselves with your hands into destruction or devastation, and do good, because indeed God loves the do-gooders, the good doers, the do-gooders. Why is this here?
It's also
I think-
related to fighting.
Yeah, so the people who can't fight, like maybe the elderly, to give whatever they can to the armies or to the people who are going to fight, to help them out however they can, whether it's money or food or shelter, because they can't fight, they have to assist in some other way the people who are going to fight, and if they hold back, then that's not good.
So like how Saudi is holding back from giving donations to Palestine. But let's not get too spicy on this call. They donated 200 million, which they also gave to a fucking tennis player. You're like, really, bros?
Come on, 200 million, they could
wipe their asses with it. Anyway, anything that you want to add to this?
No.
Yeah. Spend in the name
one of them.
Yeah. Okay, this is a big one. That's what he said.
وأتموا الحج والعمرة لله فإن أحصرتم فما استيسر من الهدي ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ الهدي محله فمن كان منكم مريضا أو به أذى من رأسه ففدية من صيام أو صدقة أو نسك فإذا أمنتم فمن تمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فما استيسر من الهدي فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام في الحج و7 إذا رجعتم تلك 10 كاملة ذلك لمن لم يكن أهله حاضر المسجد الحرام واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب.
Okay, all right. Step by step, we'll figure it out.
This is the verse explaining what
The pilgrimages.
yeah,
The holy pilgrimage.
yes.
Yeah. So, وَيَتِمُّ الْحَجِّ وَالْعُمْرَةِ. So there's 2 pilgrimages. This is the big pilgrimage, this is the small pilgrimage. The small pilgrimage can be done at any time of the year. The big pilgrimage has to be done at a specific time of year, which is very crowded for Saudi.
And the big pilgrimage is in Zul Hijjah. And they do the Arafat standing, but they will mention it in the next verses. And here it says complete al-Hajj wal-Umrah. So in the interpretation they say that this is not like the same as it's saying that everyone has to do it, but the actual meaning here is that you have to complete it. If you put your mind on doing it, if you start doing it, then you have to complete it. So this is the meaning.
So if you do it, you have to complete it,
yes,
but you don't have to do it. Or is that what you think?
Yeah, so the meaning is not that each and every single person has to do Hajj and Umrah in this verse at least, but the meaning for this one is complete it. When you do it, complete it.
We'll get to if you have to do it or not, but if it's not mentioned, then it's not mentioned. So, complete Hajj and Umrah for God, and if you are held back, then offer فما. Then offer.
فإن أحصرتم means
فما استيسر.
إن أحصرتم means if you are prevented from proceeding. And if you are prevented from proceeding, what is mentioned is that it can be that you are at the time like you're met with an enemy, or like there is a war or something, or you are sick, so you are prevented from completing the pilgrimage.
So if you're held back, فما doesn't mean then offer whatever.
فما استيسر من الهدي means then
whoever
then offer ذبيحة.
A sacrifice?
An animal. Sacrifice an animal. Slaughter an animal and give it to the poor.
I don't get that. I don't get that. فما استيسر من الهدى.
So من الهدي. الهدي is, they say it about the animals because hadi means like guidance. And they call the animals like because they provide guidance in a way. That's what I read.
It confuses me. I don't think it means what that means, but I understand that that's what everybody understood. For me, فما استيسر من الهدى, like give up what is easily obtained from blessings, from guidance, from something, and do not
shave.
Whoa. ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم.
This verse is very special because it is exactly like the what you should do in pilgrimage. So it's not like.
But see, here's what I'm saying. حتى تبلغ الهدى.
حتى يبلغ الهدي. It's not الهدى. It's الهدي.
هدو.
الهدي.
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 حتى يبلغ الهدي
محله, and it means that this animal that you are going to sacrifice is in its place. And what happens is that they bring the animals and they slaughter them in Mecca in a specific place.
But it doesn't even say slaughter
so what
them.
It says
don't
do
shave
not
them.
shave your head until your sacrifice is in place for slaughtering.
Does everybody have to sacrifice for Hajj?
No. So this is why
فما
it's
استيسر من
saying.
الهدى ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم. So do not, whoever
So let's go one by one. So at the beginning he's saying, so the first
Commit.
part is complete
Yeah.
Hajj and Umrah
Yeah.
to God. And it's important to mention that it says to God. So
Yeah.
you're not doing it for yourself, you're not doing it for your family, you're doing it, you should have the intention of doing that for God.
Yeah.
فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ means if you
you're
are
held back, then
by an enemy or by a disease, you are not able to complete.
yeah.
فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهُدَى. So whatever you can obtain with ease, with the money that you have or with your capability or the place that you have, try to get animals to be sacrificed.
Okay.
And don't shave your head until this animal is in its place. Because what this means is that if you are held back, then what you should do is that you should sacrifice an animal and then shave your head.
Okay. It's a little confusing to me, but anyway.
Yeah.
For whoever was from you sick, ill, or has an ailment
In his
from his head, then offer a ransom, offer something instead, which is fasting or a charity or sacrifice. Nuskin.
Yeah, it's again like slaughtering an animal. So this is referring to if someone has a disease or someone cannot shave their head. So it's very, very specific to the pilgrimage.
Oh, has an injury on their head that they can't shave.
That they cannot shave. So in that case, if that's the case, then you should just fast or give charity or sacrifice more.
So then,
so when you are secure, so in that case, those people who are held back by a danger, so if you become secure after this, فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ بِالْعُمْرَةِ إِلَى الْحَجِّ, this is related to al-ihram, because people do ihram to do umrah and
what
hajj.
What is ihram?
Al-ihram is that people, when they go to pilgrimage, they have to not commit sins,
not lie,
not
have
fight,
sex.
not have sex, not argue,
Yeah.
not cut your nails
But where does
or
it say
your
that?
hair or.
But it doesn't say that in the Quran.
So in the interpretation, what is said is that the pilgrimage is not something new. To that time, people used to do pilgrimage already.
Yeah.
So when Islam came and explained that, it was not something that people didn't know about. They were already doing it, but in another way to other gods. And so this is why maybe for us it's a bit like not very clear, but at the time I think it was clear.
Anyway, so when you are secure, so whoever took advantage of the Umrah or Tamatta, it's like whoever enjoyed it, is not whoever was able to do it.
So actually, the Tamatta, what they say is that Fakk al-Ihram is Tamattu. So Man Tamatta bil Umrah is like Fakk al-Ihram.
Yeah, for me it means when they finished it, right?
Yes, it's like, so you stay in Ihram.
Keep it until you finish Al-Umrah.
Yes, so some people keep it from Umrah and then they do the Hajj at the same time and they keep the Ihram throughout. And some people do Umrah, for example, and then يفكوا الإحرام and then they can do.
But here it says فمن
whatever they
تمتع
want.
بالعمرة إلى الإحرام.
إلى الحج.
So إلى الحج, sorry. Whoever took advantage of Umrah to Hajj.
Yeah.
So whatever they obtained with ease, استيسر is to obtain. Yeah, whoever got something easily from
animals.
I find it difficult. I don't think animals is correct here, but whoever cannot find, then fast 3 days during Al-Hajj and 7 days if you are returned. This way there's 10 days completely, and that is for the one who is not able. Okay, for the one whose family is not present at the Masjid al-Haram, and be mindful of God and know that God is severe in punishment, in retribution. So, okay, it confuses me why it says God is offering punishment. First fast 3 days during the pilgrimage and 7 days after returning home, completing 10 these offers.
So whoever cannot afford the offering, so in times of peace, so we can start from in times of peace. So if you are at peace, you can combine. Yeah, exactly. This is what it means. So you can combine. Actually, if you go down a little bit, you can combine the pilgrimage with the minor pilgrimage. So you can do al-Hajj and al-Umrah at the same time, and make the sacrificial offering you can afford in the middle to للإحرام تاني. Whoever cannot afford the offering in the middle, so the alternative is to fast for 3 days during the pilgrimage and 7 days after returning home. The offering, and this all applies to everyone who doesn't live in Mecca.
So not only do you have to commit the pilgrimages, you also have to offer an animal.
That's in specific cases. I don't think that this is for everyone at every time.
In times of peace, you may combine the pilgrimage and minor
So
pilgrimage,
this is for
then
people who do
make the sacrificial offering you can afford.
Yes, this is for people who do.
أمنتم فمن تمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فما استيسر. So whatever he offered from the sacrifice animal, but whoever wasn't able to find who wasn't able to find an animal, so then fast 3 days during Hajj and 7 days if you have returned.
Yes, but again, this is for people who are going to do both together, and not everyone does both together.
Okay, it's saying both together and give an animal sacrifice.
Yes, if you do it both together.
Okay.
I did Umrah without Hajj. You can go and do Umrah, and that's it.
But if you do both together,
and you can do Hajj and
if you do both, give an animal.
Yeah, in specific case, I think as well.
When you do both,
I think when you do both together وتبقى محرم وبعدين تفك الإحرام, and then you need to sacrifice an animal, and then yeah.
Okay, this is a bit complicated. Let's leave it for another day.
Yeah,
because it's exhausting me, to be honest.
الحج أشهر معلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج وما تفعلوا من خير يعلمه الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقون يا أولي الألباب.
Okay. So, Hajj, the pilgrimage, the big pilgrimage, the holy pilgrimage, is in the months that are known. So whoever undertakes therein the Hajj, so then no sexual relations, no wickedness, no arguments. So this is the muharramat that you were talking about.
Yes.
No quarreling in Hajj. And whatever you do is good. Whatever you do is good. God knows it.
وتزودوا. So and you should during that time do a lot of good.
Yeah.
Because whatever you do.
Do it in surplus.
God knows, and make it more. وتزودوا. So do even more good during that time.
Not take provisions, but تزودوا زاد الشيء, which means added to something. تزودوا means be multiple, plentiful. Yeah. Because indeed it is the best provision and righteousness or mindfulness and mind and fear me, God, O people of understanding or reasoning.
Yeah, and you will really like this one. I was reading in one of the interpretations that mentions that taqwa is the word that is most mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah.
Yeah.
No, in Surah Al-Baqarah specifically.
In this chapter of the cow.
Yes.
Which is chapter 2.
Yeah, and we can already see it, that is mentioned everywhere.
Every day, yeah, which they say is righteousness, but we say it's mindfulness. Like to be fearful, to be mindful, to be aware. You know what I mean? Okay.
ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام واذكروه كما هداكم وإن كنتم من قبله إنه لمن الضالين.
Okay. All right. It is not on you. Janahun means a wing, but I guess here it translates to a sin. There's no blame on you if you seek a bounty from your Lord, and when you depart from Arafat, the mountain of Arafat, Fathkuru means not just remember, but like mention the name of God, mention God next to the monument, the sacred monument. Al-Mash'al al-Haram is a location, is a specific monument that you can go to. وَاذْكُرُوهُ, and remember him as he guided you, as though you were from before it, surely amongst those who went astray. Before you went to Hajj, you were misguided and essentially you would have gone astray, but after it,
before God's guidance,
before
lost.
The whole point of doing this pilgrimage is to align with God and to find it. And there's an understanding, I don't know if it explains it later, that it kind of washes your sins away. This is the thing that you do that kind of resets the sins of your life. But I don't think it resets, but it has the most amount of positive, the most amount of goods. And in the ayah,
but I don't agree with that. And also I
don't agree with what?
That it resets your sin.
Yeah, I'm saying
this is something
it doesn't.
That's very.
I was saying what was said in the Quran is that good replaces evil. It doesn't say that it resets, but that for every evil, the more good you do, the more it compensates for it. So here, and it also said in the previous ayah that this is the place and this is the month of where you get the most benefits. So if you want to undo a lot of the damage that you've done throughout your life, do the most positive here, and it doesn't cancel it out, but it essentially balances your scales better.
Yeah, but within Muslims, a lot of people say that if you go and do pilgrimage, then it erases everything you did, and this is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
What I heard, which makes a bit more sense, that God can forgive the sins that you did, like if you didn't pray, if you didn't fast or something like that. But if you do bad to people, if you are not a good person, then don't think that you will be that you will do everything bad throughout your life, and then you will go to pilgrimage and then
magic wand all undone.
Yes, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but it does mention that good kind of counterbalances evil, and in this month and in this place you get the most good. It is the most reward that you're getting. It's the closest to God. It's kind of like the pilgrimage is really good for you. It really gives you a lot of points to really try your hardest during this month, during this time. Be as good of a person as you possibly can be. Did you want to say something, Mohab?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and in this verse that we were at,
that we're going to read or that we read?
No, this one. Yeah, the first part, ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم, means that you are allowed to trade, like to sell stuff during pilgrimage, because.
How do you get that? Fadlan is, I think it means heavenly reward, heavenly bounty, not literal.
For seeking the bounty of your Lord during this journey.
Yeah, وتتبعوا فضلا من ربكم. This is from God.
Maybe this is not the same part.
Maybe
no, actually this is what I read. Yeah, this is أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم. They explained it as getting money and getting from God's.
Yeah.
I think it is, you might be referring to the Arafat, like on the hill of Arafat or on the place of Arafat, like. I heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's from the Quran or somewhere else, but like God will accept, your prayers. So there's no shame if you ask for.
ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا. Okay, so it's not.
So
sin isn't the right word.
It's not shameful from God if you ask Him for material things, for example.
Okay, I think that makes sense. Correct, Mahab. Yeah.
That's kind of it. Yes.
Yeah, you can ask for bounty from the Lord. Pray for the Lord as much as possible for these things. Okay. Thanks for that input. Also, I have an idea.
Yeah.
We don't have to do until 2:18. We can also stop earlier. I think we can cut it earlier. Because just as much as we can shorten the days, we can also have more days later. If we get tired, I think we should just stop.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to.
ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم.
Okay. ثم أفيضوا. What does that mean?
Yeah. ثم أفيدو, it means come from, then go or go forth from where the people are going, because this is referring specifically to when people come from Arafat. So during Hajj, the most important thing that they do during Hajj is وقفة Arafat.
Okay.
That they stand on Jabal Arafat.
Arafat mountain.
Yes, and then they go from there. So the Muslims used to do it this way. They used to go from Arafat to Al-Muzdalifah, I think. And then Quraysh used to come from Al-Muzdalifah instead of Arafat. So what it refers to is that it's telling them, go from the place where people used to go, which is Arafat.
Okay, go from the place that people used to go.
It's very specific to the pilgrimage.
But now people do Arafat to what is the 2 months? But anyway, it says ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا لله. Okay,
yes.
So then depart from wherever the departed the people, and ask for forgiveness for God, because God is oft forgiving and oft merciful.
Yeah, and this was to specific people who didn't go from Jabal Arafat.
Okay, so just go where the people go, which is the Arafat
mountain. Yeah.
فإذا قضيتم مناسككم فاذكروا الله كذكركم آباءكم أو أشد ذكرا فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا وما له في الآخرة من خلاق.
Okay. فإذا, and when or if قضيتم, you completed your مناسككم, your acts of worship. I guess here it's referring to the pilgrimage.
Yeah.
فاذكروا, then remember and mention God as you remember and mention your forefathers, or greater,
or even more,
or even more than you remember your more remembrance than your forefathers. And from the people who say, our Lord, Atina, grant us in the world and whatever is for him in the evening thereafter of min al-khalq, which there are some who say, oh Lord, grant us your bounties in this world, but they will have no share in the hereafter. Whoa. فَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبِّنَا آتِنَا. So there are some people who tell us, grant us in this world.
Yeah, so it means that some people only ask for
worldly
stuff
without,
and don't remember what happens in the
afterwards.
Hereafter. Yeah.
And do not and not for him whoever asks for, grant us for stuff in the world and not for him in the hereafter from
so they don't have any share in the hereafter. So what it means, if we go from the beginning, so when you finish your
sacred rites,
which is the pilgrimage,
and the pilgrimage and the giving of the animals, everything that was mentioned before.
فاذكروا, so you remember Allah. So when you're done with this, remember Allah like you remember your own fathers. And this is referring to that people were very proud of their fathers and
proud of their people.
And proud of their people, and this is all they thought about. So it's like, remember your God as you remembered your fathers, or even more. As some people only say, God give us things in this world, and they forget what will happen in the hereafter. So these people will not have any share in the hereafter.
Afterlife. So people who ask only for
worldly
stuff, and وَمَا لَهُ, and he does not have, or they do not have for him, and him is referring to everyone, not just males, in the hereafter from any share.
Yeah.
So the way I see this is, for example, I don't know, the way I understand it is like, oh God, please give me a big house.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Not, like, okay,
Forgive me
because
my
in the
sin.
earlier it said there's no shame in asking for worldly things.
Yeah.
But if you're only interested in worldly things, then you're gonna miss out on the reward of the heavens, something
And
like that.
if you only ask
Yeah.
for worldly things,
If you
you'll get
only ask,
you'll get no reward in the hereafter. But again,
Something like that.
which is beautiful because the previous one said that, if you ask for worldly things, you can. But here it's clarifying. If you're only asking for earthly things, then you're gonna get nothing of the afterworld, which honestly is kind of the bigger reward, really.
Yeah.
Because fuck this world.
ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار.
Okay. And from the people that we just mentioned, are those who say, Our Lord, grant us in the world good, and in the hereafter good, and save us from the punishment of the fire. So here it's saying, opposed to asking only for worldly things, there are some that say, grant us for the good in this world and the hereafter, and protect us from the fire.
Yeah.
What happens to those people?
أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب.
Okay, it says, for those people that ask for worldly and hereafter things, those are for them a share of profits, or a share of luck, or a share of something positive from what they have earned, and God is quick in taking account. What do you guys think it means?
So.
So
Yeah.
those people that were referred to previously that ask for both heavenly and
Yeah.
earthly things, they have a share of heaven.
A share of what they've
will-
earned. Ma kasibu. What does that mean?
What they did good.
Yeah,
The
so
good things that they did. مما كسبوا, it means
what they
the
gained.
good things they gained. Yeah,
the
because
good deeds. Yeah.
the good deeds, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. I just find it weird that it says those that ask for things in the world and things in the after and are afraid of fire get what they earned, get what they deserve, and God is quick, swift in account. But it doesn't say are they getting hereafter things, or it doesn't say are they getting earthly things. It just says they gain a reward. I think there's a nuance to it that I don't know what it means, but it's cool. Okay, I suggest we either stop here or we keep going until the end of the thing. I think this is very successful and there's a specific point for these things. How's our energy level? Do we want to keep going? And if we keep going, then I think we should go to the very end. Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, I think we can take a break and continue.
Okay, well, we'll take a quick break because it might be a long time coming. So I'm going to stop the recording here and then pick it up on immediately after. I'll do part 1, part 2, and then we'll continue. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we pick up right where we're going. We're going to have 2 recordings. There's going to be a small cut. There was no reason for the cut, but we had the cut anyway. And here we go.
واذكروا الله في أيام معدودات فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم إليه تحشرون.
Okay, just leave it. But I need to move the room. There we go. Okay. Fadhkuru, again, it means remember, but I also feel like it means mentions, because the dhikra means mentioning God during the days that are numbered.
Yeah, so, and this is again referring to specific days in the pilgrimage.
Yeah. And then whoever hurries in 2 days, so there is no sin for them. And whoever delays, there is no sin for them. This is the correct word for sin, ithim. I don't know, sometimes it said ithim before, but this means sin. Or like a negative point, like something wrong against you. So whoever fears or is mindful, why does it say that?
فلا إثم عليه لمن
اتقى واتقوا الله.
فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى. Yeah, for those who are fearful.
Oh, for those who are fearful, and then it starts the next thought.
Yeah.
And be fearful of God, so that you know that to Him you are gathered. You will be
gathered together.
تحشرون. It's kind of like stuffed together, which is
that you will be one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because also they refer to the resurrection day or the last day. They also refer to it as يوم الحشر.
Oh,
so
the last day is the
day
of,
that
of
we
gathering.
are all gathered.
Yeah. It's gonna be crowded.
ومن الناس من يعجبك قوله في الحياة الدنيا ويشهد الله على ما في قلبه وهو ألد الخصام.
Hate when they do that. Hate. But let's continue. And of you are people who please you with their speech in the life of the world. The world. Hayat al-dunya, they mean the worldly life, the earthly life, the life that we're living now. And he calls to witness for God on what is in his heart, and he is.
ألد الخصام means like he's your worst enemy. And I love this verse, and I think that for everyone, I'm sure it will remind you of someone you know.
It reminds me of people I used to call besties. But carry on.
Yeah, so what it means that from other people, you will find someone that you really like what they say. They are because sweet talkers.
Yeah, they tell you sweet things. They tell you nice things in the world that you're seeing. Every time they're near you, they tell you lovely things.
Yeah.
But God is witness to what's in their
hearts. And they are your worst enemy. So they speak really nicely. You are impressed by the way they talk and everything.
Yeah.
But God knows what's inside. They are your worst enemy.
And I have had the pleasure of God removing those people from my life recently. Just saying. But let's not get into blasphemy just yet. Any other points to add, or are we good?
No, and then we can go to the next one.
Cool.
وإذا تولى سعى في الأرض ليفسد فيها ويهلك الحرث والنسل والله لا يحب الفساد.
Okay. And if you turn away,
so referring to the same person that we were talking about in the previous verse. So if he turns away
from you, or they went away,
he
strives in the earth to spread corruption in it and destroy the crops and progeny.
And nasl is beings, like the
offspring.
Yeah, offspring.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God does not love the corrupt.
Yeah, God doesn't like corruption.
Yeah.
So this person who you are you really like the way they talk and everything, and they are very impressive, but they are your worst enemies. If they go on and they take any power, or they have the power to do something, then you will find that they are very corrupt. They spread corruption, they ruin the land, they ruin the offspring in a way, and God does not like them because God doesn't like corruption. Yeah.
God does not like corruption in general. And essentially it's those people that not only when they tell you nice things and then they go around and they fuck the world, they're not just spreading rumors or shit about you. They're just destroying the earth, the crops, the progeny, the offspring, and God does not like the corrupt.
Yeah, and in a way, I see that they are just evil. And you see some people and you think like,
how?
And why?
Why? I know.
I also don't understand.
Because they're corrupt. Some people are just bad seeds.
Yeah.
God said so.
Yeah.
So stop wasting your time. Just identify them and move away.
وإذا قيل له اتق الله أخذته العزة بالإثم فحسبه جهنم ولبئس المهاد.
Okay. And if it was said to them, to them, I don't like him.
To him.
Yeah, but him is like the person, right? And it's using the male to mean both the person that's hurt you back. It's not here using male as in only males, but here it's saying
No, but because it's referring to a specific person, like in the previous verses,
Yeah.
it's talking about like someone as if
من
it's
الناس من عجبك يقول
عجبك
قوله.
قوله. Yeah.
But this means to
Yeah.
anybody that
Yeah, it
pleases you.
can be a man or a woman.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
does
like,
not mean. So I prefer the term they if we're going to switch it to this. And if it was said to them, be mindful of God. And you also see this in poetry a lot. A lot of male poets use female terms or male terms, but they mean female partners.
Yeah.
So again, you can use it transcendently. Anyway.
I think in Arabic, even though I failed Arabic, I think like if you're generalizing about the population, you use the male
Yeah.
Exactly.
part of the word. So
Agreed.
it doesn't mean only males. It's just a generalization
Completely
of the whole
agreed.
population.
And if it was said to
The he, she's, and the they, thems.
yeah, this is the whole gender spectrum, not just the males. And then when it's said to them, be mindful or be fearful of God, then takes his pride to sinning, and فحسبه جهنم, and his reward or his result of that is hell, and surely evil is the resting place. Al-Mahad. When it's said to them, fear God, pride carries them off to sin, and hell will be their proper place, and it's surely like a terrible place to be.
Yeah, and also I can relate to the first part of this because it said, and if you tell them fear God, or if you tell them like stop what you're doing, or like think about what you're doing, or whatever, أخذته العزة means that he's taken over by his pride. Like all these people, you find that they have very big egos. Like, how do you speak to me like that? And
I'm about to tell them exactly this verse. Just saying.
So that would technically be referring to me. So like
exactly you,
if I
specifically
take that
you.
Then according to Islam, I'm going to hell.
Yeah. Well, no, you're going to hell. Your pride is going to take you to sin, because you're too proud, which is ironic, considering that you hate yourself.
Yeah, but then the result of that, or my resting place, will be Jahannam, which is hell.
It depends on when you die, to be honest. There's always a chance for forgiveness. God is often. We started the Quran by saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahman there are many verses that also says Allah Shadidul Iqab. So it's like there's two parts.
Sure. If you die right now, then 100% you're going to hell and you're fucked and you're screwed.
I'm sure you're joking. I'm sure you're all joking, right?
I'm being hyperbole.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, I'm not trying to start anything. But I'm just saying, like this clearly says.
Yeah, whoever's pride takes him to sin is going to be a problem. And I'm clearly telling you what.
No, actually, this is, guys. I don't think you understand the meaning. This is referring to this person
the
and
people
this
who say
person,
nice things,
the person who
ruins,
went on and
destroys.
went and got power in some way, so corrupted the land and destroyed the land and the offspring.
Yeah.
And then if you tell them
which means a continuation with قيل له, we
yeah,
spoke to them.
and when you tell them stop this or think about it or be a bit mindful or something, they are taken over by their pride.
And that's
so I don't think Mohab that refers to you.
Not all people who have not all people who don't be mindful of God, but people who have destroyed هلكوا الحرث والنسل. وإذ قيل له اتق الله, and if it was said to him be mindful of God, his pride takes him to the
over.
So this, if we take the whole meaning of like the previous verses and this last one, I think that describes actually a specific person. And that person, I might be wrong, but I see that this person that they're referring to, who was prideful and who destroyed the earth and blah blah blah, is Abu Jahl.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It can be.
But the
But
Quran
it used him as an example of people who would do that.
The Quran at the very end of the Quran does name the name of Abi Lahab, So when it
No,
wants to name a name,
Mujahid,
it
yeah.
names a name, and when it
Yeah,
wants to be
yeah,
general,
yeah,
it is
yeah.
general. So it's
Yeah.
not just that person, but that's probably the example of when it came out.
Yeah. And there was
But
a
it will name and give receipts. Like it mentions Israelites 100 times.
yeah.
Yes.
And a specific core, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was mentioned بيقتلوا النسل الحرث والنسل.
Okay.
It was mentioned in the same
Yeah.
wording, I
Yeah.
think, somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing.
ومن الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات الله والله رؤوف بالعباد.
Okay. And from people and of people, whoever sells or trades themselves seeking pleasures of God, pleasures of God.
Mardat Allah means like the I think God's for God to be happy with him, like
The diseases. Yeah, mardat means diseases, as I know it.
no.
Yeah.
رضا يعني ايه رضا؟
Rida is pleasure or contentment or agreement or, yeah. If someone rida عليك means they've approve of you. They approve.
Kind of. Yeah.
So whoever traded or sells their own selves seeking the pleasure of God or the approval of God.
Yeah.
And God is full of kindness for his servants.
Yeah.
So this also loosely translates to me because I'm not living my life for myself. I'm living my life for God.
I like how you both
Talk about ourselves.
Yeah,
see ourselves in the Quran. What can we say?
I wonder why I'm not seeing myself in here.
This is the difference between men and women. Men have ego and think everything's about them, and women have
Yeah.
understanding and knowledge and don't think everything's about them.
Yeah. Sometimes I think like, this reminds me of someone, but I
For
I
us-
don't really think like, this is me.
Yeah, but I do think that I'm dedicating my life to Allah. Like
Okay.
literally until the day I die.
That's good for you.
I'm going to do this. You cannot pay me to stop me from doing this. Just saying.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين.
Okay. Ya ayyuha, O ye, or O the people of those of you who have believed and entered into peace or surrender or Islam, it all kind of means the same thing, which is those who have surrendered over to God completely and do not follow the footsteps of the devil, al-shaytan, then indeed for you, the shaitan or the devil is indeed for you an enemy that is obvious. He's openly an enemy. He's openly leading you to problems, and you don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ادخلوا في السلم كافة means like it's mentioned here, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So like, give it your all.
Yeah. Kafatan completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enter into Islam or enter into the surrender to God completely.
The surrender or the peace. Sometimes it can also refer to peace. By the way.
Islam means peace. Peace of soul, peace of spirit, peace of.
Yeah.
Okay.
إن زللتم من بعد ما جاءتكم البينات فاعلموا أن الله عزيز حكيم.
Okay, continuation from when I said I'm the person who follows God. This is a continuation for me. So if you slip from after what has brought to you from clear proofs, then know that for God is almighty and all wise. This is kind of a threat.
Kind of. It is.
It's not saying what God's going to do to you, but it's saying if you slip up after it's been made obvious, ooh, God's mighty and wise. He knows and he's strong. So, message received, God. I was trying not to fuck up. I'm sorry.
It's kind of a threat.
Yeah, it's very threat. God's powerful, and God
Yeah.
is, and I have to. This is what it means to be mindful of God. Do right if you believe, truly believe, and then don't fuck up. Okay.
ينظرون إلا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام والملائكة وقضي الأمر وإلى الله ترجع الأمور.
It kind of also refers to me, but we're not going to talk about it. Are they waiting except for what comes to them from God in the shadows, from the clouds and angels, and in His decreed the matter, and to Him the matters will return.
Yeah, so what it's saying is, are they waiting for God to come in clouds and surrounded by angels for them to like follow or to believe?
Yeah.
It's all done, it's all settled. وقضي الأمر means like it's settled. It's already settled, and to God everything shall return.
The matter is decreed, and to God all matters return.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which means what exactly? هل ينظرون إلى أن يأتيهم الله في ظلال. We know the first part. Are they waiting for God to come in the clouds and
to
the
come
angels?
himself, with the angels in clouds. Yeah. So that they can believe or they follow, or I think it's a bit
I think for
general.
me, it is as it is, and it is belonging to God.
Yes, it is what it is. Yeah,
It
قضي
is what
الأمر is it is what it is. Yeah.
And to God, everything is belonging.
Yeah.
Everything will go back to God.
Yeah.
Oh, here's our favorite people again.
Yeah.
سل بني إسرائيل كم آتيناهم من آية بينة ومن يبدل نعمة الله من بعد ما جاءته فإن الله شديد العقاب.
Okay, and here I think is kind of for me the main point of the book and the main point of mentioning Israel and the children of Israel so many times, because this is the main message, saying, ask the children of Israel how he came to them from signs, clear signs, and this is mentioned in the Bible and this is mentioned in the Torah. Like, this is not specific to the Quran. The children of the Israelites were given miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle, and still whoever changes the favor of God from after that has come to him, so then indeed God is severe in punishment, chastising, torment. Punishment, I think, makes a lot of sense. But here, notice how it splits the first two halves. It says, ask the children how many signs we gave them. And then the second part is, whoever trades God's favor after receiving it for disbelief, whoever goes away after receiving God's favor, then God will be severe in punishment. Because I think there's ways for you to kind of figure it out. And once you figured it out, if you get lost after that, then it is entirely on you, boo-boo, and not on anybody else. But the example is the chosen people. The chosen people are an example of what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsie.
I think here, because it mentions, because they probably got the most number of miracles. God kept doing them miracle after miracle after miracle.
We even read it,
and they still didn't get wiser.
In this chapter, the chapter of the cow talks about how Moses water came out of rocks.
Yeah.
Food came from the sky. The sea was parted. Like, literally everything in the mother and the house down Boots Mama was given to them, and they still did not believe. And essentially, this was my biggest question when I was younger, is like, why doesn't God just show us? If he shows us, we'll believe. And the whole point is, even if he was to show you everything, if you're not going to believe, you're not going to believe. Yeah. So the whole point is believe without showing. That's the point of life.
Yeah. And we talked about it before. It's whatever you believe, your mind works to convince you of it. Yeah. So I think the belief comes first.
Yes.
And then your mind works around it.
Yeah. Belief, and then you'll figure it out. But once you believe, ain't no turning back, boo-boo. And if you turn back after you believe, then it's entirely on you. And if I was to turn back in my future, then it's entirely on me.
زين للذين كفروا الحياة الدنيا ويسخرون من الذين آمنوا والذين اتقوا فوقهم يوم القيامة والله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب.
Okay. Zayyana is not beautified, it's like adorned. Like it was put on, like you kind of beautified as a way of doing it, like what I did.
It was made beautiful.
Yeah, decorated, sort
Yeah.
of. Are those who disbelieved in the life, the world, the earthly world?
Yeah, so the world was made beautiful for
No.
those who didn't believe.
زين الذين كفروا في الحياة الدنيا.
زين للذين كفروا الحياة الدنيا.
Beautiful.
So للذين كفروا زينا الحياة الدنيا.
Okay, so the people who disbelieved were given beautiful life in the earthly world.
The world, no, it means like the world seems very beautiful to them.
Okay. Okay. It was beautified for those who disbelieved the life of the worldly life. And يسخرون and ridiculed and they're the ones who ridiculed those who believed and those who were fearful of the God above them and the day of resurrection. And God provides whoever he wills without measure.
Yeah, so here at the beginning, yeah, it means that this life, this world is made beautiful to the disbelievers. They see it as very beautiful anyway, and they mock the believers. While actually the believers, the ones who are fearful, are above them on the day of resurrection.
Yeah.
So they are above them in the sense that they are better than them, or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then here it says, Allah provides for whoever He wills without measure and without being. Hasab means measure, and exactly, and it means also question. So for people who sometimes say like, oh, didn't I get that, or why isn't God giving me this or that? So here it says God shouldn't be questioned. So God gives to whoever He likes, and He shouldn't be questioned about what
and
He
also
does.
specifically, it's not just why didn't I get it. It's why did the horrible people and the liars and the cheats get rewards? Why are they getting rewards if they're lying and cheating and stealing?
Yeah.
So I should lie and cheat and steal because they got the reward. And here it's saying God gives whoever He's supposed to give, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
But it's not for you. It's not for you to measure. It's not for you to judge. It's not for you to know.
I mean, look at me, for example. I'm a disbeliever, and I don't see life as beautiful, and I didn't get any of this good stuff from Earth. And I'm probably going to end up in hell. So, like, it's a lose-lose-lose.
Okay. Actually, the last part is not true, but the rest was.
Well, whatever. The last part. But yeah.
You're not the judge. God's the judge. And
you never know.
We've established that Safa has a very good eye for things, and she can see the believer in you even if you cannot.
I do.
I trust her judgment. I don't trust yours.
I do. I really
anyway,
do.
We'll save that till after the discussion. Here we're reading the Quran.
I see your faith.
We're reading Quran. We'll talk about that after.
Okay.
Reading Quran.
كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين.
Sorry, I just love this.
فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه وما اختلف فيه إلا الذين أوتوه من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات بغيا بينهم فهدى الله الذين آمنوا لما اختلفوا فيه من الحق بإذنه والله يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
Allahu Akbar, which again takes me to the preaching business, because if you'll notice what I said on my YouTube channel, that I believe it's Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. But let's read what God says.
Yeah, this is actually I see this verse as giving the reason for having prophets and different books.
Different books and different messages, correct.
Yeah, so it says at the beginning.
And there was mankind, kana nas, there was people, a community of people that were a single community.
So
all the
people-
people
so-
were a single community.
Yeah, at the beginning, people were all one single community.
And then raised up or sent, the Lord sent, Allah sent prophets, bringing bearings of glad tidings and warnings. And he sent down with them the book with the truth so that it can judge between the people. And in what they differed in it. So in the book was a way of judgment to do with what they differed. And they did not differ in it except for those that were given from after what was brought to them from clear proofs out of jealousy. So they only differed in jealousy from each other amongst themselves. And Allah guided those who believed regarding what they differed in it from the truth with his permission, and God guided whoever he pleased towards the correct path. So, what's it saying? Essentially, it's saying that every people used to be one, and then God sends down prophets, people who prophesize, and there's no more prophets after Muhammad. Very important to say that there's
It doesn't say
not
clear,
here, but in the Quran later. But
keep
this is
it,
for you too. Sure.
yeah.
So he sent down the prophets, bearing glad tidings and bearing warnings, and he brought with them the book. Again, here it's singular book, but we know that it's 3 books in one. That's amazing how things can be described like that. In truth, so that they can judge between the people with what they differed in it. And they only differed in it except those who were given from after what was brought to them from proofs out of jealousy. So they only differed in the messages when they were jealous and they decided not to follow each other and say, no, they're not the right people, we're the right people. No, they're not the right people, we're the right people. And essentially out of jealousy and kind of as a problem.
Yeah.
But I also think that it applies to Muslims not reading the messages of the previous 2 books because they don't believe them, they don't agree with them. So I do think that we have to work with them, we have to work with each other, but that's my own personal belief. I'm not going to add it to this session. And God guided those who believe regarding what they differed in it from truth with his permission, and God blesses and guides whoever he pleases towards the correct path.
Yeah,
Clear
sure.
differences
Yeah.
between the people, and the
So,
only
sorry, go on. I'll
Yeah.
make my
So-
point after you finish.
differences between the 3 is only created out of jealousy because they were given clear proofs, and out of jealousy is why they differed and why they talked about it. So for instance, in the Torah there was mention of Jesus coming, and they differed. Here it's saying they differed because of jealousy, and they didn't want to give up their power. They didn't want to give up because they're like, they can't be the chosen people, we're the chosen people, there has to be a problem. And then the Christians came, and then when Muhammad came after him, again the same problems the Christians said to the people of Islam, no, you can't be the chosen people, we're the chosen people. And it's kind of like a pride, a jealousy. That's the only time that they differed. And again, I'm sorry, the Muslims are, even though they were given the proof that the Torah and the Bible, the Injil came down, they're like, no, only our word is correct and nobody else's word is correct. So all 3 have committed the differences out of jealousy because they don't want the other person to have the success and the excitement. And this is not applying to one, but this is applying to all the people of the books. What's your question, Mohab?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I wanted to say one thing here also. So so it says in one of the interpretations that people lived for 10 centuries before the first prophet came. So
Where does it say this?
in one of the
Tafasir? Okay,
in
what
one of the tafasirs. So there were no prophets like after Adam and Eve
No, there
came
weren't.
down to the
Ibrahim,
earth
no, there
for
was.
many years. I mean, not there were not.
Yeah.
For many years, people. This is what it means here, that people lived as one community for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know in what year exactly a prophet came, but people were living without any prophet as one community for a long time, and then they started to disagree.
Yeah.
And then God brought down the prophets with the book
Yeah.
to help them in their differences, in their disagreement among each other. So
we
this
get
is
into
to
it
judge
between them whenever there's an issue.
Yes,
Here's the rule
yes.
of God, how to solve this issue between you.
yes.
And there are different messages for all three, and we'll get into that a bit later.
Yeah, so that was the meaning of it to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Why
I understand. We all used to be one people, and
Yeah.
you brought down prophets to kind of share the message, but the prophets didn't tell you only us and they're wrong. The people told you that only us and they're wrong. The prophets just told you to follow God.
Yeah.
And all of the prophets
Yeah.
told you to follow the same God, yet everyone got confused and did their own thing. And no, it's us. No, it's us. No, it's Christians. No, it's Muslims.
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
Jews.
yeah.
No, it's all. It's God. But just saying.
Yeah, it's all the disagreements. So
Yeah.
the reason at first the religion was brought down to people and a prophet came down to people was because they were disagreeing among each other. We couldn't live in peace with each other.
Yeah.
And then after prophets came and religions
Brought peace.
all
all the
people
respective-
are still finding
Yeah.
reasons to disagree and to find differences
Yeah.
more than to find peace.
All the three prophets brought down messages on how to resolve dispute and conflict. And when they brought down, there was peace. And then the prophets left and people got confused because apparently they can't follow simple instruction. But anyway. Oh, that's my message. Never mind. We'll talk about that after. Cool.
أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا نصر الله قريب.
It sounds like the guy is pleading, like, oh, please. But anyway. Or did you think that you would enter paradise or heaven while not had come to you like it came
To the people before you. Did you think that you will directly go to paradise and will not be faced with what
has
the
come
people before you
were
faced? Like they were afflicted with بأساء الضراء.
That touched them, they were afflicted with adversity and hardship.
Which is basically poverty and sickness.
Yeah, and they were
and misery.
And they were shook up.
In a way.
And they were shook up until the messenger said, and those who believed with him, when the victory of God or the support of God.
When will it come? Yeah.
Oh,
when will the victory of God come?
Unquestionably that indeed God's help is quite near. Actually, that's a very good message. God's help is always quite near. It's coming. A change is coming. But essentially it's saying, do you think you'll be admitted to paradise without being tested like those before you? Those that were afflicted with suffering and adversity and shook up, that even the messengers with those believers cried out, those messengers, the people of those messengers cried out, when are we going to get, when is God going to make us victorious? And essentially they should just unquestionably know that God's help is very near. And I think this means also kind of forevermore, not just in the past, but just saying.
يسألونك ماذا ينفقون قل ما أنفقتم من خير فللوالدين والأقربين واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل وما تفعلوا من خير فإن الله به عليم.
Okay. And here they ask you, O Prophet, what they should spend. Say, whatever you spend of good for parents, for relatives, for the orphans and the needy and the poor, and of the wayfarers, the people who have lost people in war.
Who are traveling.
Oh, Ibn Sabil?
Yeah, the people who are wandering,
people
traveling.
traveling. Because like in the olden days when they used to go on caravans,
Okay.
and they used to travel for months to get from one place to another place.
Yeah. Or if someone's traveling and they don't have any help or support, it can also mean modern day times. But anyway, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا, and you do not do of any good. وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ.
So whatever good you do,
whatever you do good,
Allah
then
is
indeed
all-knowing.
God is of it always aware.
You certainly will not.
So essentially, they're like, how much should we donate, or what way they should donate? Whatever donations you give for parents, relatives, orphans, poor, needy travelers, whatever good you do is certainly known to God. So essentially, it's saying, do whatever you want. Any good is good, and any good is recorded by God.
كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون.
Okay. It was written for you fighting while it was hateful towards you. وهو كره.
كره لكم means you don't like it.
Okay, so fighting was written for you, and even though you hate it, it is hateful for you.
Yeah.
But perhaps you may hate something and it is good for you. Oh, this is often this is often used a lot. وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم is often used as you may hate something, even perhaps you dislike something which is good for you, and
perhaps you like something that is bad for you.
وعسى, and perhaps you like something that is bad for you. I didn't know that was the rest of this. I always knew the first half. You may hate something and it's good for you, and I say it all the time. عسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم.
وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم.
And also you may love something and it's bad for you. That's amazing. That's beautiful. This is wonderful poetry. I love this.
Yeah, so the beginning of the verse is referring specifically to fighting and going to wars.
Yeah.
So it says here that كتب عليكم, it means like
it was written, prescribed for you.
It's not written. كتب عليكم, it's like it's your fate.
Yeah.
It's like it's your fate to fight.
It's your duty.
Even though you don't like it, it's your duty or it's your fate, even though you hate it.
Yeah.
And what we just mentioned. And sometimes you hate something and it's good for you, and sometimes you like something and it's terrible for you.
Yeah.
Well, and God knows and you don't know.
Yeah.
So this is and a lot of Muslims think of it this way. When something bad happens, you just say
it's bad.
you
Why
just
say
you just say maybe it's good for me. Maybe I hate it, but it's good for me.
Yeah. This is why we say عسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم. You may hate something and it's good for you.
Yeah.
And the opposite's true. You may love something and it's bad for you, and God knows everything and you don't know.
Yeah.
So
what does one know? How would somebody know if the thing they like is bad for them, or vice versa?
Well, according to this verse,
you never know.
أنتم لا تعلمون. You do not know.
Exactly. So
this is referring to some people who think that bad things have happened to me. Oh no, life is so terrible. Wow, what's gonna happen? Oh my God.
I find it a very good way to find comfort, Muhib, more than anything.
I know, there's a reason why I said it in that way. We'll continue the discussion after the Quran before we get too spicy. Let's just finish. Two more ayat.
No, it's not about being spicy. It's like, like you asked me to be here to, point things out.
Yes.
But actually, I have a very good answer.
Let him say. What is your question? Yes.
Some people don't believe, might see this, and I'd be like, okay, so, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you might like something that's bad for you.
Yeah.
Okay. You might like something that's good for you.
Yeah.
You might hate something and it's good for you.
So
because
if
actually
I get cancer, that might be good for me.
Wait. Let me ask the question.
Let me answer the question.
Let me hear the question. What's the question?
No, the question, it's just, it doesn't make sense, like, the whole thing. Like,
Yeah, I understand exactly what he means.
Okay.
This
If
is
it refers to
referring
the fighting,
it's
then I
referring
understand
to
that. But if
your
it's a general
feelings.
thing,
It's
then
referring
it's
to
like-
it's referring to the way you feel about something. So this is saying, may you hate something and it's good for you. Like, for example, with a kid, you can tell him you have to exercise every day and he hates it, but you tell him, but it's good for you. And sometimes you love something and it's bad for you. Like so many things.
Eating candy.
Like
Children wanna
eating
eat candy. They wanna eat candy all the time.
You want to eat candy all day long. I love it, but it's bad for you. And you know by your mind that it's horrible for you. This is exactly what this verse is saying. That sometimes you, by your feelings, you feel like something is too hard on you, or like
Or
you
too
don't,
bad,
you
or
don't,
negative,
you don't,
or-
you just don't like it. You don't feel
Yeah.
like it. But it's what you have. It's what you should do.
So don't listen to your feelings at all times. Just understand that everything from God is there for a reason, even if you hate it.
Okay.
Thank you for explaining it.
This is gonna turn into a fight.
Let's go.
No,
Yes.
Safa's explanation was very good.
Cool.
Thank
I'm glad you
you.
understand each other. Allahu
Thank
Akbar.
you.
يسألونك عن الشهر الحرام قتال فيه قل قتال فيه كبير وصد عن سبيل الله وكفر به والمسجد الحرام وإخراج أهله منه أكبر عند الله والفتنة أكبر من القتل ولا يزالون يقاتلونكم حتى يردوكم عن دينكم إن استطاعوا ومن يرتدد منكم عن دينه فيمت وهو كافر فأولئك حبطت أعمالهم في الدنيا والآخرة وأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
Okay. They ask you about the month of the sacred month, which is one of the months of the Islamic calendar,
Yes.
about fighting in it. Fighting in it is a great sin. وصد عن السبيل, which means and hinder or withhold from.
وصد عن سبيل الله.
وصد عن what does صد mean?
Like hindering. Yeah. It's
Okay,
like
and hindering
people.
and hindering people from the way of God, and disbelieving in it, and preventing access to the Masjid al-Haram and driving them the people out of it is bigger for the Lord. So here it's telling them fighting is a big sin. However, it's bigger for people to hinder people from the way of God or disbelieving in God and denying access to the Masjid al-Haram and driving its people out of it is a greater sin for the Lord. And oppression is bigger than killing.
Again, here it's fitna, which is not oppression, in my opinion.
What is
in
your
my humble opinion.
What is your oppression?
Fitna means like when people are disagreeing and are like in fitna, like.
I think it's like corruption, but like in the sense of, let me give you an example. For what I'm trying to do to you, for example, to convince you that God doesn't exist, that's fitna, for example. Or I go around telling people, look, Ahmad is he's a piece of crap person, and he only wants to like spreading lies and
intentionally misleading,
confusion.
Intentionally causing confusion, intentionally creating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Is a greater sin than killing, so maybe stop, Mohab. and do not cease. ولا يزالون
يقاتلونكم and they will
do not
continue fighting you.
And they do not cease
They do not stop
you
fighting you until they turn you away from your religion.
If they're able to, and whoever turns away from you from his religion and then dies while he is disbelieving, then those are the first worthless among their deeds in the real world and the hereafter, and those are the companions of fire, and in it forever they are abiding. So saying, Mohab, if you are going to, oppress us with confusion and try to guide us away, if we were to actually leave religion and die when we've left, then we are going to hell forever abiding. But it doesn't talk about you specifically, but it's just saying, don't do it.
Okay. I mean, I let anybody believe what they want to believe. I don't go around telling people what you believe in is wrong. It's just like, if you believe in that, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
So you're not doing that. So you are not the person that they're talking about. Anyway.
إن الذين آمنوا والذين هاجروا وجاهدوا في سبيل الله أولئك يرجون رحمة الله والله غفور رحيم.
Okay, the last one for today. Indeed, those who believed and those who immigrated and strove in the way of the Lord, those are the ones that are hoping for the mercy of Allah And Allah is indeed oft forgiving and most merciful. I think He's the most forgiving and most merciful. I don't know why it says oft forgiving, Ghafur and Rahim, but maybe there's a nuance that I'm not understanding. But He forgives, and He does get His mercy. So surely those who believe, immigrate, and struggle in the way of the Lord they can hope for God's mercy, Allah's mercy. Allah is oft forgiving and most merciful. And this also applies to you. This applies to literally everyone. This applies to anyone at any point in time. If you decide, I'm going to make the switch, I'm going to try, I'm going to do better, I'm going to ask God for forgiveness, God is always going to forgive you, and His mercy is all-encompassing. So as long as you try, before you die, you're good. In my opinion, in my humble opinion. Cool. That's what we're going to do for today. So let's end it as we always end it. صدق الله العظيم. Thank you very much, and see you next time.